Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Holiday Pearls Dove. This one here. Oh my gosh, it focused and then it unfocused because I talked about the fact that it was focused. Of course. After that, the only one left is ornament. I still need to make that pattern. Although it's not too bad because since it's mirrored, I only have to do half of it and then just so shouldn't be too bad. And then after that, I'm going to start some from the books. And so long as I find enough that I like, I will just do those until I fill up one of these. And then I'm going to start one of the other kits. And, you know, 2 kits are good. The only issue I found was this book, a lot of the finished patterns are significantly bigger than the others. I mean, you can tell just by looking at the pattern, like, it's a lot bigger. And I don't want anyone to think, like, oh, I gave them really cute big kitty patterns because I love them more. And, I mean, that might be true, but I don't want them to know that. So, yeah. I'm rambling again. I'm just going to go cross-stitch now. Alrighty, I had to go back on some of my videos to find out where I was with the trivia, because David is not here with me today. It is 6:16 a.m. on the day my video is supposed to be posted. I had such a busy week, I did not have time to do narration, and I woke up this morning and I was like, holy crap, I forgot to do the narration on one of my videos today. Thankfully, this is only about 20-ish minutes, so it should still go up at the regular 9:30 a.m. time, but I apologize, you guys. I thought I was better than this, but I am not. I get up at 6 a.m. every morning, though, so, you know, this is fine. And, okay, I actually woke up at 5:53. So, I actually woke up a little bit early, because I was just like, wait a minute. I didn't do narration this week. I don't have a video ready. Ah! Okay, so the last question I did was the psychic abilities. So we are on 36. Oh, wow. That seems very low, but okay. 36. What is the silliest thing you've heard people say about you? Start off with some light embarrassment and a good laugh to open things up. Silliest thing you've heard people say about you. Silly. I'm not sure. I mean, like, I feel like silly implies more than just, like, funny. Like, I feel like heard people say about you. Because, I don't know, like, personally, the way I read this is that it's something someone says about you that isn't necessarily true. Because, like, I mean, I've heard people call me very mean things, and I'm just like, what? Like, the one that really stands out to me was in middle school. There was a girl who I eventually became friends with because we got to know one another. And we're actually still on we're friends on Facebook now, so you know, we resolved this, so don't worry about it. But I was in, let's see, 6th grade, so she was in 7th grade. She was 1 year ahead of me, I think. She could have been in 8th grade. Either way, she was ahead of me. Oh, no, you know what? I was younger. I wasn't in the same class as her. I was in 5th grade, and she was in 6th, 7th, or 8th. I think. Oh, heck. Let's see, when did I go to Hinterbrand? I went to Hinterbrand with Mr. Parker's class. So it was 6th grade. Okay. So yes, we were in the same class. I think when she moved, because this was in Spain, I think when she moved there, I was in 5th grade. And we didn't really interact because we had, you know, a different classroom, a different teacher. But when I went into 6th grade, we both had Mr. Parker. And for anyone that doesn't know, the middle school I went to in Spain there was one teacher for 4th and 5th grade, and there was one teacher for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It was crazy. Um, anyway, so I started sixth grade, and I remember people telling me that this girl just hated my guts, that all she ever did was talk trash about me, and how she didn't like me, and how she thought I was rude, and all of these things. And I was just like, I don't know this girl. Like, I couldn't think of a single time we had spent like any significant amount of time talking to one another. So I was just like, what, where is she getting this idea that I'm mean? Like, I don't understand. And like, it was a source of confusion for me. And it wasn't necessarily that I had the desire for her to like me just because, like, oh, I want to be liked. It was like, I want her to have real feelings about me. I want her to like me or dislike me because she actually knows me. So I don't know, maybe I'd been like super awkward or rude at our first meeting. I genuinely do not remember the first time we talked. So I don't know, maybe it was valid at the time. I don't know. But we ended up going to Hinterbrand together. And I don't know if you guys have, I don't know. I'm sure I've talked about Hinterbrand at some point on my channel if you guys have been here long enough. I did the run and dip where we had to jog through snow that was like above our knees, above my hips, I think. It was at least above my knees. It was high. And we got to this little frozen pond where one of the instructors had to take a pickaxe and break the top layer of ice off. And then we had to jump in there, swim around a little bit, and get out. And then we had to jog, like jog in place until everyone had done the run and dip. And then we jogged back to the lodge, and that was really cold. And then the second day we did the run and dip, instead of going to the pond, we just went to a hill that was absolutely covered in snow. And we all had to lean back in it and make snow angels. It was really cute. Or did we do snow angels or did we just hold hands? I think we maybe just had to hold hands because then we went back into the lodge later and looked down and it looked like one of those paper cutouts with all the dolls holding hands. So it may not have been snow angels. But either way, we had to lay down in the snow and make an impression, and it was cold. Obviously, the second one was much better than the first one. The things you'll do as a child. It's hoy. So we went there, and I don't believe that she and I were placed in the same team. But there was one day when we all went skiing, and she and I had both never gone skiing before. So we were both really nervous about it. And we ended up staying on, like, the little training course that they had set up. It was just, like, one gigantic messed up circle where, you could go up and then you could go down. So you had to pull yourself up and then you could just enjoy the way down. And there were bumps. So, like, it was fun, but, it was small. Like, you could stand there and you could see the whole track. And we ended up talking because everybody else left. We were the only two still there. And, we had, like, one instructor watching us, but he didn't really care. And so we actually had to talk. And I did not have the balls then, and I don't know if I'd have the balls now. I did not ask her, like, hey, I've been told you hate me. Would you like to tell me why? We just talked. And we got along. We were there for a couple hours, I want to say. Or at least in my memory, it felt like it was a really long time. It was fun. My feet hurt by the end of it. And it was... Hinterbrand was a week. We were there for a week, I want to say. Somewhere around there. We were there for a while. And at the end of it, the instructors had everybody, and they were like, what is your main takeaway from what we all did? And this girl raised her hand and she was like, I got to know Liz. Prior to this, I was under the impression that she was, just the worst person ever. She was really mean. And I got to talk to her on this, and I think we've become friends, and I really like her. And I don't know why I didn't like her. And so I just sat there like, so she did hate me, but she also doesn't know why she hated me. So, like, I look back and I think it's hilarious because it's just, when you're a child, the slightest thing can make you think that someone is the worst person in the world. And you get to know them and you realize, like, oh, you know, maybe that day when she called me a butthead, she was not talking to me. Or maybe in her world, that's not actually an insult, whatever. So I look back and I think it's funny. I think it's kind of silly. So I just like, I have plenty of embarrassing stories, but like I usually tell them because I think they're hilarious. So I don't really hear other people say them about me. I guess my family does. Does that count? I don't know. I'm going to move on. 37. Do you have any ridiculous goals in life? Everyone dreams big. Most people are just too shy to share it. Ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. It would be awesome if I could live off of my YouTube channel. Like, if I could just cross stitch every single day, that would be the best life I can imagine. And yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. I don't think there are a lot of people that would be interested in watching a cross-stitching channel constantly. So I don't think that would happen. Do I have any other ridiculous goals? I mean, Four Heavenly Beasts is pretty ridiculous, and I have a goal to finish that. I promise you guys, once I finish these Christmas ornaments, it will be back to Four Heavenly Beasts. So you don't have to watch these Christmas ones if you don't want to. I promise it will not offend me. 38. What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? A big trip somewhere, getting married, or saying yes to that job that terrified them? I mean, I usually don't make spontaneous plans. Not necessarily because I'm against them. It's just I like to plan and be prepared. But, like my family when I was younger and David now, every once in a while she'd be like, all right, put on some warm clothes, we're going out. So, my family every weekend we would go to anywhere off base, castles, cathedrals, caves, every awesome thing that we could. And David, gosh, was it last year? The beginning of this year? We went to, was it Mount Charleston? I think it was Mount Charleston. And we walked around in the snow and had a blast. And I know he had planned it. All I knew is we were going out, so it felt spontaneous to me. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm sorry. 39. What cartoon do you still like to watch? I mean, all of them. So, let's see. I grew up with... so the ones that I rewatch, like, intentionally, is, like, Sailor Moon, and if it comes on, I would totally rewatch Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, any of those. I don't care. Let's see, it says, a guilty pleasure from childhood, but one that will say a lot about the person. No, these are not guilty pleasures for me, you guys. I am absolutely not embarrassed about them, or I don't feel bad about them in any way. I watch, let's see, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I would totally rewatch that. Hey Arnold, Doug, Rugrats, Powerpuff Girls. Like, I don't care if they were made for children. They were fun, and I don't know, it doesn't bother me to watch them. Like, heck, I would watch some freaking Blue's Clues, and that is totally 100% for kids. Like, I immediately know the clue. Like, I get it. But, yeah, I don't know. I think a big part of what helps is that I watch anime, which is Japanese animation, which a lot of times is not geared towards children. It is not made for children. Like, yeah, maybe it'll be made for 17, 18-year-old boys, but At that point, it's like you're a little more mature. It's not child. Like when I think a cartoon, when someone says cartoon, I assume something for a kid. And like Naruto, okay, Naruto was geared towards teens. I don't think a 6-year-old should be watching it. Like, it can get violent, there can be blood, they are ninjas, they have weapons. So, yeah, I think anime has very much changed my idea of cartoons. So, I'm grateful for it. I love anime. I think you should totally give at least the Studio Ghibli movies a chance if you haven't watched any anime, because they are spectacular. I loved them as a kid, I loved them as a teen, I love them now as an adult who's almost 30. They are beautiful films. They're not just for kids. I think they are for all ages, and at the very least, you should give Spirited Away a chance. That is one of the most beautiful and amazing movies of all time, bar none. If someone has seen that movie, I can almost guarantee you it will be on their top 10 list of movies of all time. Okay, 40. What was your favorite fairy tale growing up? Another one from childhood that opens up a lot of interesting characteristics. So, as a very, very, very young child, my favorite Disney movies were Robin Hood, the Fox one, and Aladdin. As I got into like middle school and high school, Beauty and the Beast jumped up to be my favorite, mostly because I realized, yes, Jasmine's fun, but the main thing about her character is that she doesn't want to marry who she's been told she has to marry. She wants to marry someone for love, which is wonderful. I totally agree with that. But I like Belle more, where it's like she wants adventure. She wants to get out of her little small town. She wants to be more than just the weird girl. She wants to read. And it's not just about her falling in love. Like, yes, at one point she reads a book and she's like, oh yeah, this is where they find out who the other one really is. She finds out he's really a prince. And that's cute, but that isn't the main part of her character. And I very much appreciate that. Because a lot of times, female characters are just there to be the love interest. Versus Belle was so much more. So, I really liked Beauty and the Beast, especially because I do very much believe that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like, I think David is a 12 out of 10, you guys. I think he is incredibly gorgeous. And I've met people who disagree, and I'm just like, that's fine. I don't care what you think. Like, your opinion of what my boyfriend looks like will never affect my opinion of him. And honestly, I'm totally okay with people not finding him attractive, because then you can't try to steal him away from me, because I want to keep him forever. So, I really like that Beauty and the Beast shows that, like, yeah, you can, at the very least, at the very, bare minimum, you can learn to care for someone without caring what they look like. You can become friends with someone over shared interests without thinking, or, without having to think that they're attractive and good looking. You can have just a friendship. Yes, obviously, Beauty and the Beast becomes more than that, but I just like the idea behind it. I really appreciate that. 41. What skill or craft would you like to master? Fishing, knitting, or is it something wilder? No. I still feel like I have not mastered cross-stitching. There's always more to learn. I feel like every year I learn something new. It was only within the last 5 years that I learned different techniques for starting and ending a project. So I don't think I've mastered it, but I'm working on that. I would like to definitely become better at crocheting. Currently, all I really crochet is squares and rectangles. I just do blankets, which is totally cool. But if I could do more, that'd be cool. I have patterns saved of stuffed animals and stuff like that, but I've never been brave enough to try them. So maybe one day, I don't know. 42. How did you find out that Santa isn't real? So I learned when I was 10 or 11, I want to say. My parents were just, they pulled me aside and they're like, hey, Liz, we think you're old enough to know now Santa's not real. And me being a non-confrontational person, I was just like, oh yeah, I knew that. Which was a lie, you guys. I did not know that. I had no idea. Maybe I was younger when they told me. I don't remember, but I lied. I pretended to know. I did not. And they were just like, oh, okay, cool, sure, cool. And I walked away and I went in my room and I cried for a while. But I will say, I do not regret believing in Santa. I am not upset that my parents lied to me. I think it's really fun. I think it makes Christmas really exciting. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, I feel like that is not a bad lie to tell your kids. Like, unless you realize pretty early on that, like, oh yeah, like every kind of lie really upsets them, I don't think most people should freak out about it. Like, it's something fun. It's not something bad. I don't know. So the next one is going to be number 43. The next time I do these, I need to remember that it was number 43 and I was on the dove. And that is the end of Holiday Pearl's Dove. I got 3 hours and 1 minute of footage. There he is. Very cute. So, yeah, ornament is next, and then we'll see from there. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.